It looks like Uber has a growing interest in the behaviors of its users. According to a new patent application filed by the company, Uber is planning to use machine learning to better understand the state of a passenger when they request a ride. The patent, which is pretty vague as to its purpose and full of a whole lot of technobabble describing it would theoretically work, lays out a system in which Uber could analyze how people typically interact with the app and determine if they are behaving in an unusual manner, whatever that might mean. CNN suggested that the patent could be used to identify drunk passengers, which is certainly one possibility. According to the patent, the Uber app will keep track of how many typos a person makes, the precision with which they click on links and buttons, how fast they're walking, and how long it takes them to request a ride. The presumption being, of course, that a person who makes a bunch of typos and clicks the wrong icon and takes 20 minutes to actually call for a ride after opening the app is probably inebriated. When asked for additional details about the patent, a spokesperson for Uber told Gizmodo that the company had nothing to share beyond what was in the application. Uber's patent does suggest that the app could take a couple different actions when it notices a rider acting unusual. First, Uber could change the service it provides to the rider. That would allow the app to pair a potential erratic rider with a driver who has proper training or experience to deal with such a person. The app would also provide warnings to drivers so they could avoid picking up someone behaving strangely. Uber has always pitched itself as an app that promotes safety by taking drunk drivers off the road. This patent, if the company receives approval that is, would potentially mark an attempt to improve the safety for drivers, allowing them to skip out on dealing with someone who is behaving in an unpredictable manner. The very thought of visiting a hospital emergency room is stressful enough for many people, even without the discomfort or pain of an examination or treatment. Enter an immersive virtual reality program created by 3 grad students being used in France to relax patients and even increase their tolerance of pain, all without resorting to drugs. What's on offer is a world where the patient goes on a guided tour in interactive mode to play music, do a bit of painting, or work out a riddle. As patients are transported by chunky VR goggles into a 3-dimensional world of Japanese Zen gardens or snowy hillsides, they become more tolerant of minor but painful procedures, such as having a cut stitched or a burn treated, a urinary catheter inserted, or dislocated shoulder pushed back into place. Ow! The virtual reality project enables doctors to offer patients a technique to distract their attention and curb their pain and anxiety when being treated in the emergency room. It's possible in 10 years, virtual reality won't even be a question anymore and could be used in hospitals routinely around the world. The Healthy Mind startup is not a first, but it has landed a $20,000 prize from a university in Adelaide, which will now pay for the 3 founders to present their project at Microsoft's headquarters in Seattle. Back at its reInvent conference in November, Amazon announced its $249 Deep Lens. It's a camera that's specifically geared towards developers who want to build and prototype vision-centric machine learning models. The company started taking pre-orders for Deep Lens a few months ago, but now the camera is actually shipping to developers and anybody else that wants to tinker with it. Deep Lens is essentially a small computer with a built-in camera that's powerful enough to easily run and evaluate visual machine learning models. The hardware lets you create prototype applications, no matter whether those are simple toy apps that send you an alert when the camera detects a bear in your backyard, or an industrial application that keeps an eye on a conveyor belt in your factory. The 4-megapixel camera isn't going to win any prizes, but it's perfectly adequate for most use cases. Unsurprisingly, Deep Lens is deeply integrated with the rest of AWS's services. These integrations are also what makes getting started with the camera pretty simple. Indeed, if all you want to do is run one of the pre-built samples that AWS provides, it shouldn't take you more than 10 minutes to set up your Deep Lens and deploy one of these models to the camera. Those project templates, by the way, include an object detection model that can distinguish between 20 different objects, a style transfer example to render the camera image in the style of Van Gogh, a face detection model, and a model that can distinguish between cats and dogs, and one that can recognize about 30 different actions like playing the guitar. The Deep Lens team is also adding a model for tracking head poses. Oh, and there's a hot dog detection model as well, just, for the heck of it. But that's obviously just the beginning. If you want to get started with deep learning and build some hands-on projects yourself, Deep Lens is now available on Amazon for $249. It's not cheap, but it sounds like it could be a lot of fun. Google has revealed an interactive Google Spotlight Stories series. It delivers a handful of gorgeous, lovingly crafted VR adventures that push the boundaries of modern animation. An interactive VR experiment called Piggy tells the story of a jogging pig and his insatiable lust for delectable cake. Viewers will play both the role of viewer and the talent as they influence certain aspects of the experience from the bleachers of the stage-like setup. The plot of Piggy is a series of classic cartoon gags, but now the viewer controls the timing just by deciding where to look. Utilizing eye tracking technology combined with 6 degrees of freedom, users can trigger certain animations depending on what their attention is focused on during the stage performance, all while Piggy maintains constant eye contact with you. It is a little creepy. He responds to your choices with a full range of emotions. This ensures there's something interesting happening no matter where you're looking during the experience, with no two viewings ever being the same. Piggy lasts approximately 3 to 3.5 minutes and will be available on Google Spotlight Stories app for iOS and Android, on Daydream, Steam, and Viveport. Available as a sneak peek, Age of Sail tells a more serious tale of compassion and redemption. Set during the year 1900, Age of Sail follows the story of William Avery, a sailor alone and adrift in the North Atlantic. After rescuing a mysterious young woman stranded in the waters, Avery discovers a newfound sense of hope throughout Google's longest and most visually ambitious Spotlight story to date. Among these new offerings, Google also has several popular Spotlight stories already available for viewing. Again, you can check it out for yourself on the iOS App Store or the Android App Store.